Ladies and gentlemen, there is a force within you right now that is greater than any obstacle, mightier than any limitation, and capable of producing miracles beyond your imagination. This power does not sleep, it does not rest, it responds instantly to the thoughts you hold in your mind and the beliefs you accept in your heart. The world you see outside is but a reflection of the world you build within. When you learn how to think in harmony with the laws of the universe, doors open, paths clear, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Tonight, I'm going to reveal to you a simple formula, so simple that many overlook it, yet so powerful that it can turn your thoughts into living, breathing miracles. It has transformed lives, healed bodies, restored fortunes, and it can do the same for you, beginning the very moment you decide to believe. Your mind is the workshop of creation. Everything you see in this world, every invention, every building, every work of art, every form of success first existed as a thought in someone's mind. Before the airplane soared, it was a vision in the mind of the Wright brothers. Before electricity illuminated the world, it was an idea dancing in the consciousness of Edison. Every achievement begins in that invisible realm of thought. You may think your thoughts are fleeting and insignificant, but they are the building blocks of your reality. What you habitually think, you inevitably create. The mind is the architect. Your outer life is simply the construction site. When you realize that your mind is the true workshop of creation, you begin to take responsibility for what you allow to dwell there. Most people believe that circumstances shape their lives, but it is the other way around. Circumstances are the mirrors of your inner state. They are the visible reflection of invisible thoughts. The wise understand that nothing happens by accident. Every condition in your life has a mental equivalent, a pattern of thought that gave it birth. Change the pattern, and the result must also change. It is an immutable law. The conscious mind is like the designer. It selects, plans, and chooses. The subconscious mind is the builder. It receives the design and brings it into form. When you hold a thought in your conscious mind, mixed with emotion and belief, it sinks into the subconscious, which then works tirelessly, day and night, to turn that thought into experience. The subconscious doesn't argue or question, it simply obeys the impressions given to it. It is a loyal servant, but you must be a wise master. If you think thoughts of fear, limitation, and failure, those are the blueprints you hand over to your inner builder. The subconscious, being neutral and obedient, will construct experiences that match those thoughts. But if you choose thoughts of confidence, success, and divine guidance, your inner workshop will produce conditions that reflect those ideas with mathematical precision. This is not superstition. It is spiritual law. The creative power of thought is as real and dependable as the law of gravity. You don't have to understand how it works for it to work. You only have to use it consciously. Every time you think, you set into motion forces unseen but powerful. These forces move through people, circumstances, and events to bring about the manifestation of your dominant ideas. You may not always see the process, but it is always at work. Just as the seed beneath the soil silently grows toward the light. The mind produces according to the nature of its thoughts, just as soil produces according to the nature of the seed. If you plant roses, you cannot expect to harvest thorns. Likewise, if you plant thoughts of love, harmony, and abundance, your life must eventually reflect those qualities. Your job is not to force the outcome, but to maintain the right mental atmosphere, the atmosphere of faith, peace, and expectation. The subconscious takes care of the rest. It works through channels you could never plan or predict. It brings the right people, the right opportunities, and the right timing, all in perfect order. Many people misuse this creative workshop without realizing it. They worry, complain, and dwell on lack, then wonder why life seems to bring more of the same. Worry is just negative imagination. When you visualize fear, you impress the subconscious with the very thing you wish to avoid. The subconscious doesn't understand, "I don't want this." It only understands the content of the image. So when you think, "I don't want to fail," your mind still hears, "fail." That is why it is essential to focus only on what you desire, never on what you fear. Affirm your good with conviction. See yourself as already successful, already healed, already blessed, and your subconscious will move mountains to make it so. Every day you are building, whether you know it or not. You are the craftsman of your destiny. You may say, "I'm not creative," but you are creating with every thought, every feeling, every belief. You cannot stop the creative process. You can only choose what you create. The thoughts you allow to occupy your mind become the materials from which your future is built. If those materials are of faith, love, and purpose, your future will be radiant. If they are of doubt, fear, and resentment, your future will reflect that as well. The universe does not play favorites. It simply reflects back to you the pattern you hold within. To use your mind as a true workshop of creation, begin by disciplining your thoughts. Watch what you think about yourself and your world. Replace every negative suggestion with a constructive one. If you catch yourself saying, "I can't," immediately affirm, "I can," because the power of the infinite is within me. If you think, "I lack," replace it with, "I am richly supplied by the abundance of life." Over time, these affirmations reprogram your subconscious with new blueprints of success. The change may begin subtly, but it will grow steadily until your outer world reshapes itself according to your renewed inner design. Silence and visualization are powerful tools in this process. Spend a few minutes each day imagining your desired outcome as already real. Feel the joy of having it. Feel the peace, the gratitude, the satisfaction. This emotional energy is the fuel that drives creation. The subconscious responds most strongly to feeling. When your thought and emotion unite in harmony, you ignite the creative process at its highest level. The universe rushes to correspond with the vibration you emit. Remember, you are not a victim of life, you are the architect of it. Every success story begins with someone who dared to believe that their mind could shape their destiny. You have that same divine potential. Your mind is the workshop where miracles are designed, refined, and built. Use it with wisdom, use it with faith, and it will yield results that others may call miraculous. But you will know it was not a miracle at all. It was simply the law of mind in action, the law that turns thought into form, the invisible into the visible, and ideas into reality. The world within is the cause, the world without is the effect. Master the inner, and the outer must follow. That is the simple, eternal truth of creation. Whatever you impress upon the subconscious, you express in your life. This is one of the greatest truths ever discovered by the human mind, a truth so simple that most overlook it, yet so powerful that it governs the entire fabric of your existence. The subconscious mind is the silent partner of every person who has ever achieved greatness. It is the hidden engine behind your habits, health, relationships, and destiny. Whatever image or idea you hold with feeling and conviction, the subconscious accepts as truth and then sets about to bring it forth into your outer experience. The subconscious does not reason as the conscious mind does. It does not argue or analyze. It simply receives impressions and acts upon them. It is like fertile soil. Whatever seed you plant, whether of roses or weeds, it will cause to grow. It does not judge whether a thought is good or bad, true or false. It only knows how to reproduce it in the world of form. That is why your dominant thoughts, especially those charged with emotion, inevitably become the conditions of your life. Every failure, every success, every joy and sorrow you experience has its roots in the patterns impressed upon your subconscious mind. Many people live unaware of this law. They allow fear, resentment, and doubt to occupy their thoughts, not realizing that they are impressing these feelings upon the subconscious, which then expresses them as corresponding experiences, more things to fear, more people to resent, more reasons to doubt. The subconscious never sleeps. It is always creating according to the blueprint you provide. When you fill it with thoughts of harmony, love, abundance, and success, it reflects those very qualities back to you through events, circumstances, and even through the people you meet. Think of your subconscious as a vast, creative power that operates with mathematical precision. When you plant a thought and nourish it with emotion, it begins to move in ways you cannot see, attracting ideas, opportunities, and resources that align with that thought. This is why faith is so vital. It keeps you emotionally aligned with your desire until it manifests. When you believe deeply, without contradiction, you impress your subconscious with a definite pattern. The universe then acts through that pattern to bring your belief to life. You can see this principle working everywhere. The person who constantly speaks of illness often finds themselves unwell. The one who speaks of success with enthusiasm attracts prosperity and growth. The one who believes in love finds love flowing toward them. These are not coincidences. They are the natural consequences of subconscious impressions. Life always expresses what the mind accepts as true. This is why affirmations, visualization, and prayer are so effective when used correctly. When you affirm something with feeling, you are giving your subconscious a command. Repetition strengthens the impression, and eventually the subconscious accepts it as fact. Once accepted, it begins to arrange your life in harmony with that belief. For example, if you repeatedly affirm, "I am divinely guided in all I do," and you feel the truth of it, your subconscious will express that guidance through intuition, coincidences, and inner direction. You will begin to make choices that lead you toward your highest good without even knowing why. On the other hand, if you constantly think, "Nothing ever works out for me," your subconscious takes that statement literally and ensures that events unfold accordingly. You may miss opportunities, make poor decisions, or attract unfavorable circumstances, all because of an inner conviction of failure. The law is impersonal. It gives you exactly what you impress upon it. That is why self-awareness is the first step toward transformation. You must learn to guard your thoughts, for every thought is a cause, and every condition is an effect. The subconscious is also deeply influenced by imagination. When you vividly imagine something, your subconscious treats it as real. It does not distinguish between a mental image and an external experience. This is why athletes visualize victory before competing, and why successful people see themselves achieving their goals before they do. They are impressing their subconscious minds with a pattern of success, and the subconscious then expresses it through confidence, intuition, and inspired action. To use this law consciously, begin by deciding exactly what you want to experience. Then create a clear mental picture of it as already real. See yourself living in that state, feeling the joy, peace, and gratitude of having it now. Let that feeling fill your mind until it becomes natural. Repeat it often, especially before sleep, for in that drowsy state, the conscious mind relaxes and the subconscious becomes highly receptive. Whatever thought you hold at that moment sinks deeply and begins to express itself in your waking life. Remember that the subconscious is not limited by time or space. It can bring about results through any number of channels. Your task is not to figure out how times it will happen, but to impress the time's end result, times upon it clearly and consistently. The how is left to the infinite intelligence that governs all things. You are the thinker, not the doer. Your role is to choose the thought, Believe in it and feel its reality. The subconscious will handle the details. When you understand this principle, you stop struggling with life and begin to cooperate with it. You realize that your outer world is simply the mirror of your inner impressions. If you want different results, you must change the image in the mirror, not the reflection. Fill your mind with noble thoughts, loving images, and words of power. Impress the subconscious with ideas of peace, abundance, health, and success, and it will express them as living realities. That is the sacred secret of creation. Whatever you impress upon the subconscious, you express in your life. Faith is the bridge between thought and manifestation. It is the invisible power that connects the world of ideas to the world of form, the unseen to the seen, the spiritual to the material. Every great achievement, every healing, every so-called miracle has been born through the power of faith. Faith is not blind belief. It is the deep inner knowing that what you desire already exists in the unseen and is moving toward you. It is the confident assurance that the universe is friendly, that the laws of life are on your side, and that your thoughts, when united with belief, cannot fail to produce results. When you think a thought, you send out an energy, but without faith, that energy dissipates. It lacks the force to penetrate the subconscious mind. Faith is the magnet that draws your thought into form. It gives vitality and movement to the mental picture you hold. Many people have fine ideas and noble intentions, yet they see little change in their lives because they do not believe. They doubt their own power, they question the process, they vacillate between hope and fear. But faith does not waver. Faith stands firm, knowing that the seed planted in the mind must bear fruit in its own season. The person of faith does not need to see evidence before believing. They know that belief itself is the evidence. The seed of an oak contains the entire tree within it, though it appears to be nothing more than a speck. Likewise, your faith contains the fulfillment of your desire, even before it appears. You do not dig up the seed to see if it is growing. You trust the process of life. So too must you trust the unseen workings of the subconscious mind and the divine intelligence that guides it. Faith has a vibration, a tone of certainty. When you feel it, you are calm and unhurried. You no longer strive or struggle. You rest in quiet expectation. This is the mental atmosphere in which creation thrives. The subconscious responds most readily to thoughts that are impressed with emotion and conviction. When you believe with your whole heart that something is true, your subconscious accepts it as fact and begins to express it. Doubt confuses the creative process, but faith clarifies it. It is the difference between wishing and knowing. Wishing keeps your desire at a distance, but faith brings it near, as though it were already accomplished. Faith is not dependent on outer circumstances. In fact, it often begins when appearances contradict your desire. The person who can look at lack and still affirm abundance, who can feel pain and still affirm health, who can face delay and still affirm success, that is the one whose faith will bridge the gap between thought and manifestation. You cannot allow outer conditions to dictate your belief. The outer world is only the shadow of your past thinking. Faith belongs to the present moment. It speaks from the reality of the unseen. It declares, "It is done," even when the senses say otherwise. Every spiritual teacher has emphasized the same truth. According to your faith, it is done unto you. Life does not respond to words alone, but to the belief behind the words. You may say affirmations daily, but if you secretly doubt them, you are impressing both faith and fear upon your subconscious, and the results will be uncertain. You must feel the truth of what you affirm. Let every statement you make be charged with confidence, gratitude, and expectancy. Faith is the emotional seal that tells the subconscious, "This is real." Once it accepts that signal, creative process begins to unfold in perfect order. Faith also releases the power of imagination. When you believe, you can see beyond limitations. You can imagine new possibilities, and your mind begins to create images that align with your belief. Those images become the blueprint that your subconscious uses to build your outer life. Without faith, imagination is weak and easily scattered. With faith, imagination becomes a focused channel for divine energy. You begin to attract ideas, people, and opportunities that match your inner conviction. It is as though life itself conspires to fulfill your belief. One of the greatest mistakes people make is to wait for evidence before they believe. They say, "I'll believe it when I see it." But the law of mind says the opposite. You'll see it when you believe it. The inner belief always precedes the outer manifestation. Faith plants the seed. Time and persistence bring the harvest. There may be moments of delay, but faith remains undisturbed. It knows that unseen forces are arranging the details. The one who truly believes can remain peaceful while the result unfolds. To cultivate faith, begin by affirming the reality of the power within you. Remind yourself daily that the intelligence which created the stars also governs your life. See yourself as one with that power. Speak with authority, not as one begging for favor, but as one claiming divine right. When doubts arise, replace them instantly with affirmations of truth. Say to yourself, "The power of the infinite is working through me now. All that I need is unfolding in divine order." Persist until this feeling of certainty becomes natural. Faith is the bridge, and you are the builder. Each thought of confidence, each moment of trust, lays another plank across the gulf between desire and fulfillment. One day, without effort, you will walk across that bridge and find your dream standing before you, as real as the ground beneath your feet. And when that day comes, you will understand that the miracle was not in the outer change, but in the inner conviction that gave it birth. For faith, once awakened, is the key that turns thought into reality, and reality into the living expression of your highest vision. Emotion gives thought its creative power. Thought alone is a seed, but emotion is the life that makes it grow. It is the force that propels an idea from the conscious mind into the subconscious, where it takes root and begins to express itself as experience. Every great change, every invention, every act of creation has been fueled by feeling. The mind thinks the thought, but it is the heart that gives it energy. Without emotion, a thought is weak, like a lamp without current. But when feeling surges through it, it glows with power and becomes irresistible. Your subconscious mind is most responsive to emotion. It does not respond to cold logic or mere words. It responds to the vibration of feeling that accompanies them. When you think of yourself as successful, happy, and healthy, and you feel those states deeply, your subconscious accepts them as truth and begins to reproduce them. But if you think of success while feeling fear, doubt, or unworthiness, your subconscious receives the feeling, not the thought. It always takes the dominant vibration, what you truly feel, not what you merely say. That is why you must learn to align your emotions with your desires. Every emotion you experience is creative, whether it is positive or negative. Fear, anger, resentment, and worry all create conditions in the outer world that mirror their energy. Love, joy, gratitude, and faith create conditions of harmony, prosperity, and health. The universe is impartial. It simply reflects the vibration you send out. The law of mind does not choose for you. It merely amplifies whatever you give it. Therefore, you must become the master of your feelings. You must choose emotions that uplift, strengthen, and correspond with the life you wish to live. Emotion is magnetic. It attracts to you people, situations, and experiences that resonate with its frequency. This is why, when you are in a state of joy, everything seems to flow easily. When you are angry or fearful, everything appears to resist you. You are not imagining it. You are literally tuning your consciousness to a different wavelength. Just as a radio receives only the station it is tuned to, your life receives only the experiences that match the emotional tone of your inner state. Change your emotional state, and your world begins to change accordingly. Many people misunderstand emotion and see it as something to be controlled or suppressed. But emotion is not your enemy. It is your greatest creative ally when directed rightly. The key is not to suppress feeling, but to refine it, to lift it to a higher vibration. When you feel the thrill of gratitude, the calm of faith, or the warmth of love, you are attuning yourself to the divine. These emotions are the language of the subconscious. When you feel them deeply while thinking of your desired outcome, you are giving the subconscious a clear, unmistakable command. It hears your emotional tone and begins to act upon it immediately. Consider how easily emotion can transform thought into reality. A person who believes in success but feels discouraged will struggle endlessly. But the one who believes and feels excited, inspired, and confident will find doors opening almost effortlessly. The difference is not in the thought itself, but in the emotional charge behind it. Thought shapes the pattern, emotion provides the power. Together, they create results that seem miraculous. This is why visualization and affirmations must always be accompanied by feeling. When you visualize your goal, don't simply see it, feel it. Feel the joy of accomplishment, the relief of success, the gratitude of having already received it. Live in that feeling as though it were real. The subconscious does not distinguish between a vividly felt imagination and an actual experience. It only knows the emotion attached to the image. When you sustain that feeling with faith and consistency, the outer world must conform to the inner vibration. You can practice this truth at any moment. If you find yourself feeling anxious, pause and breathe deeply. Shift your focus to something that brings peace or gratitude. Say quietly to yourself, "Only good comes to me. I am guided, protected, and blessed." Feel the truth of those words until calm fills your being. That emotional shift changes your vibration instantly. You have just redirected your creative power from fear to faith. Do this often, and you will see how quickly your outer conditions begin to reflect your inner peace. Emotion also acts as a compass for your intuition. When you feel joy and enthusiasm, you are aligned with your higher self. When you feel tension or resistance, you are moving away from it. Learn to trust your emotional guidance. It is the language through which the subconscious and the divine communicate. Follow the feelings that lift you, and they will lead you toward greater expression of your good. Every thought carries a potential, but only feeling gives it movement. Emotion is the sacred fire that breathes life into thought, transforming it from an abstract idea into a living force. When your thoughts are steeped in love, faith, and gratitude, they become creative currents of energy that shape reality itself. Therefore, be conscious not only of what you think, but of how you feel. Feel deeply, feel positively, and feel deliberately. When thought and emotion work in harmony, you become an unstoppable creator. The miracle is not in some distant power outside of you, it is in the way you think and feel in this very moment. Your emotion is the electricity that drives the machinery of the mind. Use it with purpose. Let your feelings be filled with the light of love, and your thoughts will blossom into the experiences you desire. For when emotion and thought unite, creation begins, and life responds in ways that seem nothing short of miraculous. Imagination is the blueprint of your destiny. Everything you will ever create, become, or experience first takes shape in the invisible realm of your imagination. It is the divine workshop of the mind, the silent architect that designs the structure of your future. Every achievement, every discovery, every advancement in human history began as an image in someone's mind. The great inventors, artists, and thinkers of the world were simply those who learned to believe in the reality of their inner vision long before it appeared in the outer world. They understood that imagination is not mere fantasy, it is the creative faculty through which the infinite expresses itself through you. Your imagination is the bridge between thought and reality. It allows you to shape unseen substance into definite form. When you imagine clearly and with emotion, you are impressing the subconscious with a pattern, a mental mold. The subconscious then works tirelessly to express that pattern in your physical world. This is why you must guard what you imagine. Every image you hold with faith and feeling eventually manifests. If your imagination is filled with fear, worry, or limitation, you are designing a future of struggle and lack. But if you fill it with images of success, love, health, and abundance, those are the blueprints your subconscious will build from. Imagination is not something to be dismissed as childish. It is the same power that the universe used to create the stars, the oceans, and every living thing. It is the divine creative principle individualized within you. When you imagine, you are exercising the very faculty through which God or infinite intelligence creates worlds. You are never closer to your divine nature than when you are imagining something good and beautiful for yourself and for others. The difference between those who live purposefully and those who drift is that the first use imagination consciously, while the latter let it run wild with fear and doubt. The images you hold in your mind become the magnetic patterns that attract corresponding experiences. Life always follows the direction of your dominant imagination. If you continually see yourself struggling, you are unconsciously building that condition. If you see yourself rising, succeeding, and expanding, you are preparing the way for that reality. The subconscious cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined scene and an actual event. It reacts to both as if they were real. This is why visualization is such a powerful tool for transformation. When you picture yourself already in possession of your desire and feel it as true, you are giving the subconscious the exact picture it needs to reproduce. Great thinkers have always known this secret. Before a sculptor lifts a chisel, he sees the finished statue within the marble. Before a builder lays a foundation, he sees the completed structure in his mind. Before a musician writes a symphony, he hears it within. The outer work is only the expression of an inner vision. You too must learn to live from the end, to see your desired result as already complete within your imagination. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the confidence of its fulfillment now. In doing so, you activate the creative power that turns invisible ideas into visible results. To use imagination effectively, enter a state of calm and receptivity. The best time is often before sleep or just after waking, when the conscious mind is relaxed and the subconscious is open. In that quiet state, visualize your ideal scene in as much detail as possible. See yourself living in that reality, interacting with it, feeling the emotions it brings. Do not strain or force. Let it be natural, vivid, and joyous. The more real it feels to you inwardly, the faster it will manifest outwardly. What you consistently imagine with love and faith becomes your experience. You must also be careful not to misuse imagination. Many people dwell on negative possibilities, fears of loss, failure, or rejection, and then wonder why life seems to bring them exactly what they dreaded. This is unconscious creation. The law of mind does not differentiate between good and bad. It simply reproduces the image impressed upon it. The remedy is simple. Discipline your imagination. Each time a fearful picture arises, replace it with one of faith. If you imagine failure, immediately replace it with the image of triumph. If you see conflict, replace it with harmony. Over time, Your imagination will become trained to produce only constructive, life-giving pictures. Imagination also plays a vital role in healing. When you picture yourself as whole, radiant and strong, you are sending that image to your subconscious, which governs the functions of your body. Countless people have healed themselves through mental imagery, not by force of will but by quiet conviction. They saw themselves well, felt the joy of wellness, and their bodies responded to the mental blueprint. The subconscious acts like a perfect builder. It constructs in the body according to the image held in the mind. Your imagination determines your possibilities. You cannot rise higher than the vision you hold of yourself. If your mental picture is small, your achievements will be small. But if you dare to imagine greatness, to see yourself as capable, guided, and empowered, life will mirror that expanded vision. Everything begins with an image, and that image becomes your destiny. As the saying goes, as within, so without. The outer world is the mirror of the pictures you paint within your imagination. Therefore, use this sacred power wisely. Fill your inner vision with beauty, success, and peace. Imagine not only what you want, but how it feels to already have it. Walk in that feeling. Live from that state. The subconscious will accept your vision and shape your world accordingly. Imagination is not daydreaming, it is divine creation in motion. It is the beginning of every miracle, the spark that ignites every success, the silent sculptor shaping the clay of your destiny. Use it faithfully, and it will turn your deepest desires into living realities. Gratitude seals the miracle. It is the final and most powerful step in the creative process, the invisible cement that holds your faith, imagination, and emotion together until the manifestation appears. Gratitude is not merely saying thank you. It is a profound state of consciousness that recognizes the presence of good even before it takes visible form. It is the feeling that declares, "I have already received," and in that declaration, the universe rushes to make it so. Gratitude is the proof of faith, the vibration of completion. When you are truly grateful, you are affirming that the miracle has already occurred in the unseen, and that it is only a matter of divine timing before it appears before your eyes. Most people wait until something good happens before they give thanks, but those who understand the laws of mind know that gratitude must come first. The seed of gratitude is planted in the soil of belief. It grows into visible blessings when nourished by emotion and faith. When you give thanks for something before it happens, you are telling your subconscious mind that it is already done. The subconscious, which obeys your emotional convictions, then begins to organize your outer world to match that inner feeling of fulfillment. In this way, gratitude is the finishing touch that completes the creative circuit between thought and manifestation. Gratitude changes the vibration of your entire being. It lifts you instantly from a state of wanting to a state of having, from lack to abundance, from anxiety to peace. You cannot be fearful and grateful at the same time. The two vibrations are incompatible. The moment you begin to thank life for the good you seek, your mind shifts into harmony with the very thing you desire. You stop sending out signals of need or resistance, and you begin to radiate the frequency of completion. That is the mental atmosphere in which miracles occur naturally. The thankful heart is magnetic. It draws more of what it appreciates. The act of giving thanks is a form of recognition. You are recognizing that a power greater than yourself is working on your behalf. That divine intelligence is always active, always creating, always responding to your thought. Gratitude is not an act of flattery towards some distant deity. It is the acknowledgement of your unity with the source of all good. When you say, "Thank you," not as a formality but as a deep inner knowing, you are aligning yourself with that source. You are saying to life, "I trust you. I know that all is well." And in that moment of trust, resistance dissolves. Doubt disappears, and the flow of creation quickens. Gratitude also multiplies the good already in your life. Whatever you focus on expands. When you constantly dwell on problems, you feed them with your attention, and they grow. But when you focus on blessings, no matter how small, they increase. Gratitude opens your eyes to the abundance already around you. It makes you a better receiver, because the universe cannot give more to one who does not appreciate what they already have. Appreciation is the key that unlocks increase. When you are grateful, you become a clear channel through which the infinite can pour more good into your life. To practice gratitude effectively, make it a daily habit to give thanks for both the seen and the unseen. In the morning, thank the day for its opportunities. In the evening, give thanks for the lessons and blessings it brought. When you set a goal, immediately express gratitude as though it were already accomplished. Say within yourself, "Thank you, infinite intelligence, that this is now fulfilled in divine order." Feel that gratitude deeply, as though the miracle were already here. The subconscious accepts that emotion as truth and begins to arrange conditions accordingly. You will be amazed at how quickly things begin to move when you live in this spirit of thankfulness. Gratitude is also the remedy for impatience. When you are impatient, you are declaring that you do not yet believe the good is coming. But when you are grateful, you rest in the certainty that it is already on its way. Gratitude keeps your faith steady while the invisible process unfolds. Just as a gardener waters the seed and waits in confidence for the harvest, so too does the grateful mind nurture the seed of desire with calm assurance. There is no anxiety, no strain, only the quiet joy of knowing that life always responds faithfully to the one who believes. Even in difficult times, gratitude has the power to transform your experience. When you give thanks amid challenges, you lift your consciousness above the problem and open the door for divine solutions. Gratitude turns adversity into advantage because it keeps your focus on the presence of good rather than the appearance of lack. It reminds you that there is a blessing hidden in every situation, waiting to be revealed. By maintaining a grateful heart, you remain receptive to inspiration, guidance, and strength. In truth, gratitude is not the end of creation, it is the continuous rhythm of it. Every thought of gratitude sends a signal to the universe saying, "More of this, please." Every time you give thanks sincerely, you set in motion a new wave of good. Gratitude seals the miracle not by forcing it, but by completing the circle of belief. Thought begins creation, emotion energizes it, faith sustains it, imagination shapes it, and gratitude fulfills it. When you live in gratitude, you live in harmony with the divine order of life itself. So, begin now. Give thanks for what you have and for what is coming. Feel the joy of your answered prayer as though it were already here. Let every breath be a silent thank you. In that spirit, you become a living magnet for blessings. Life cannot help but give more to one who is truly grateful. Gratitude seals the miracle because it says, "Without words, it is done." And when you know it is done, the whole universe agrees. My friends, everything you have heard today points to one timeless truth. You are the creator of your own experience. The thoughts you think, the feelings you nurture, the images you hold, and the faith you embody are shaping your life this very moment. You do not need to wait for circumstances to change. You have the power within you to transform them. Your mind is the workshop of creation, your subconscious is the obedient builder, and your emotions are the life force that set every idea in motion. When faith bridges your thought to the unseen and gratitude seals it in certainty, miracles cease to be accidents. They become natural expressions of divine law. Every great teacher, every enlightened soul has spoken of this same principle in different words. Asterisk. As within, so without. Asterisk. When you realize this, you will stop searching for power outside yourself and begin cultivating it within. You will discover that the universe is not withholding anything from you. It is simply waiting for you to align your inner world with what you desire to see in the outer world. So I urge you, think wisely, feel deeply, imagine boldly, and give thanks constantly. Let your mind dwell only on what uplifts, empowers, and heals. Speak with faith, act with confidence, and walk with the quiet, knowing that every right thought is already on its way to becoming form. The formula is simple, yet it holds the key to all creation. Think it, feel it, believe it, and be grateful for it, and the miracle must appear. You are not a victim of life, you are its designer. Within you lies the creative power of the infinite itself. Use it with love, use it with purpose, and let your life stand as living proof that the simple formula truly works, that thoughts, when infused with faith, imagination, emotion, and gratitude, become miracles in motion.